Yo, 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 yo. What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 226. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Time, what is time? What's up, guys?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And Carlos Romero.
Hey, people, this is
Yo. Yeah, see, this is why we have 50 guys on this podcast. If, like, half of those can't make it, we still got a full roster. You know? I remember there was one time, actually two times, where Manny and I had to do the whole show because everybody just,
everybody was not in.
Was a casualty of war, you know?
Damn.
But it's all good, man. Yo, so yeah, Adam, he said, like, his head hurts, so he can't be here. Although, I suspect he might be on the division. You know, I'm just saying.
Do you see him in the network?
No. Adam, you know, legitimately does get headaches and shit, so he's probably fucked up. Maybe from playing the division too much, you know. Brett, I don't know. He called me yesterday. I didn't get his phone call. It may have been about that. And Brian, he's trying to reenact Jack the Ripper's famous murders.
That's horrible.
Oh, man, I couldn't think of anything. That's all I was thinking about, man. The division, man, that shit's got me by the nuts, man. It's crazy. Like, I was playing last night with Adam and everybody, you know, and then, like, at 2:30, linked up with my cousin again. We played that shit till 4:30, going crazy, you know?
Damn.
And then this afternoon, we went crazy again, because right now, I'm beyond level 30. Actually, I hit the level cap level 30, but now it's about gear score. You know, kind of like Destiny with the light score, you know? So that's what I'm on right now. It's addictive, you know. By the way, not to go off on too much of a tangent, I don't like the word addicting. I'm like, that's a fake word, isn't it? Like
addicting?
or not. It's not a fake word. It's the usage of it. Like, oh, this game's very addicting. I'm like, addictive. The word's right there.
Yeah, it's not addicting. Yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, yeah, like again, the word. Yeah, I don't think the word addicting actually exists.
Yeah,
or it doesn't exist. It's just like it's like the word muscly.
Yeah,
you know?
No, but I'm saying, like, I see a lot of, like, professional writers say that, oh, this game's very addictive. I'm like, no, addictive we already have a word.
I think if it's like in the talking about someone else, addicting is a word. Like, it's like, oh, like when like playing the Division 2 is very addicting.
Yeah,
I think that's correct.
Yeah, like addicting is a verb, right? And addictive is the adjective. So it's like, guys, you're fucking it up. But I'm saying, again, a lot of video gamers, so especially video game writers, they do that a lot. Well, the game's very addicting. No, it's not. It's addictive, motherfuckers. Learn your English, man.
Yo, man, you got a college degree and everything, and the guy didn't finish college is telling you what the word is right, man.
You know, that shit is crazy. Shit? It's crazy, man. And then that just reminds me, you know, speaking about that, back in STFU and Play, I always got a little giddy over the fact that me, the fucking American guy, Dominican, was editing Brian. I'm like, he's the English guy. Shouldn't he be better at speaking and shit? You know, and writing? He's from the motherland, right?
What, Africa?
No, the real motherland. Actually, that's the motherland of everything. But, like, you know, England, you know? Yeah.
Well, I got to give some leeway to Brian because he is a tech guy, and like I'm a tech guy too. And yeah, English and reading and writing aren't our biggest suits.
I could say something. Actually, I'm going to say it. A word. How come whenever I had to edit Chris, I barely had to do anything? He's a tech guy too.
Oh yeah, Chris. I mean, you know, Chris. No. Chris is multifaceted, man. He's a Renaissance man.
You know, it's like, yo, like, I may have to put like a little apostrophe or something. But when I edited Chris's shit, I just read it. I'm like, okay, cool. Also, you know, since I was talking about that, same thing with Richard Bailey, same thing with Charles Singletary. I'm like, okay, I don't need to do nothing. It's great, you know.
For me, it was the worst.
Oh yeah, no, mainly I had to interpret. You know, like, what is this motherfucker trying to say? What is that jumble of random words or random letters? I'm like, okay, he means that. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm flubbing here because we gotta fill out the time because we ain't got that many motherfuckers. And Brett ain't here. We're gonna be done in half an hour.
Yeah, this should have been like 15 minutes.
The shortest show of Throwdown ever.
I want him to rant, especially about the main topic tonight.
Oh, yeah, no,
I would love to hear his take on that.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Oh, man, hopefully Wink, wink, wink. Somebody asked us a question about it, for Sunday. We'll talk more. But yeah, man, let's get
Oh,
it. Yeah, what's up?
read
Yo, what up,
the
what up?
last comment. The last comment on.
Tanks 90. Did you had to edit my
Yeah, yo.
I'm not gonna talk about that, but it's exactly what you think.
Excuse me.
Oh God.
Um,
All right, man. Oh, almost forgot. I got to give a shout out to somebody, man.
Uh-oh.
Specific peoples. I want to give a shout out to the SoundCloud slash MP3 listeners. Okay, I'm being honest right now with the MP3 portion of the Throwdown, even though that is where we began, that is not the thing I really focus on, right? I throw the MP3 up there, whatever, right? And I just realized, like, yo, we just hit 201 followers, man, on SoundCloud. That's crazy.
Oh, all right. Look at that. Thanks, SoundCloud.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I remember when that.
And-
Yeah, I remember when that shit was stuck at like 50 forever.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. And what's interesting about that is, like that goes back. It doesn't go all the way back. It only goes back to when Manny started hosting the
Yeah.
show in 2014. So that's how far back. But that's still 5 years worth of content.
Yep, that's all there up for archive, man. You can hear us. You can hear pretty much, when I was hosting the show all the way up till now.
So pretty
Good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah. So shout out, man. And again, if you guys can't watch us, that's fine. Listen to the MP3. This is still, even though we're visual and all that, this in my mind is still an audio show.
Well, at least two of us are visual.
Chris, you still have that problem with your PC, right?
Yeah, and I gotta just get a new. I'm in meaning to a new USB hub extension so I could hook my camera back up.
Yeah. It's like Chris ain't hiding. He used to be on camera all the time. Chris always used to show things too, which is always fun because you have a pretty nice collection back there.
Yeah, man.
All right. Okay, so let's get into the main topic, man. You already know what the main topic is. But again, I'm a little disappointed I'm Brett in here because that would have been the whole show. We got to talk about Google Stadia. So Google, they announced they were gonna say something last week about their with their foray into gaming. We didn't know what the hell it was. We're like, is it streaming? Is it a console? What the hell is going on here? So now they revealed, not everything, but the beginnings of all this stuff. So, Chris, what did they have to show? Break down the facts, sir.
Yeah, so Stadia really the only hardware you're gonna have to get, and they didn't talk about cost, by the way, so I don't know how much this will cost. Is all you get is the controller, right? Their infrastructure, as far as I got from the conference, is their data center and their backbone is gonna run the game entirely, and then pipe it to you, and your controller is gonna connect directly through your internet to the data center and you play the game. So they've managed to somehow be able to pipe in 4K 60 frames a second plus input um, commands in around a range of 20 to 30 megabits, which is, I don't know how they're doing that.
I don't
I
know
don't know.
about that. It sounds like magic because, to be honest, it's like, the amount of you have a Wi-Fi controller and then you have then you're throwing signal at whatever it's supposed to be throwing at. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Netflix-
let's hold off. Let's hold off
Go
on
ahead.
the opinions. I just want the facts
Yeah,
stuff
go
first.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you're getting all that piped from their backbone. So I mean, you do need a good internet connection, but they're they're doing the heavy lifting. So the game is running entirely on their system. They have this kind of scaled architecture where if a game needs more GPU and stuff, they can just assign it to it. So when you're running an instance of a game, I guess it's virtualized on their system. They said it's Linux based. So I guess you get some sort of virtual machine which you're playing the game in. And as it needs resources, they just have their data center clusters just give you whatever you need to play the game. If it needs more memory, more GPU, CPU, whatever, it can get it. So you don't have to worry about those issues. It's only the only tag is latency, and they're limiting it somehow with their data center and their backbone, and they have all these entry nodes all over the earth. Basically, they showed this big global map. Many of them in North America, a lot in Asia, and Japan, China, whatever, Europe. So they have all these entry nodes that you would connect to, and they're trying to keep the latency down. So now I can't attest to how this works, and really I had to read some stuff. I watched a couple analysis videos, and I watched the GDC with Phil Harris and all these guys talking about it. And even with all that, they are so secretive about how this thing works. I guess because I mean, if they literally explain it, then anyone else, a competitor like Microsoft, whatever, would be like, oh, that's how they're doing that. Okay. So their stuff is hush hush. I don't know what's happening in the data center. Phil Harrison made some comment about at the data center there's some infrastructure and some under the hood things happening that will lower latency and whatever. So I'm assuming there's some kind of predictive modeling going on where they can predict your inputs or have things ready where, like, if you go left, right, up, down, whatever, they already have those scenarios and they pipe it to you. I don't know. It must be a lot of that kind of machine learning and stuff going on their end. And then, so for the streaming part, so you can stream to YouTube, of course, it's Google. But you're not streaming from your end. They're streaming it directly from their data center to YouTube. So then you also have no latency there because they're just handling that on their end. So that's pretty good. And if this pans out, like, I don't know what I can't assume the cost will be pretty high, but it's probably a subscription. But from everything that was said, and he said it was accessible from like multiple storefronts. Like, you could even go on YouTube. He gave an example of like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you're watching a video on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and literally there'd be a button there that says play, and it will load the game for you. And they said it loads instantly. He says within 5 seconds, no installation, nothing. It just loads. So that's pretty impressive. So if you're watching a video and you had Stadia, uh, you could literally like just play the game right from watching a video. Oh yeah, that looks cool.
As I remember, Gaikai actually had something very similar to that quite a while ago, where essentially it was essentially demos that you can play through ads. So if you saw an ad on your YouTube, or if you saw an ad on Google, or anything else, you saw the ad, it would have a little button there, and it would automatically launch it on your system. They had there was one that was for World of Warcraft and a few other games. So it's not like new ideas.
Yeah, the other thing I saw that that was impressive, if it works, is that he had a guy go from unit to unit. So he was playing on a iPad, or not iPad, of course it's Google. He's playing whatever Google's tablet is, right? And then he moves over to a Google Pixel phone, and then he moved over to
Chromecast.
or something else, and then he moved to a television. It's like, okay, so now he's on it. Oh, he moved to a desktop PC, and apparently it's seamless. Like, it saves the state of the game. So once he switched to PC, he was right where he left off, and then he switched to television, and again, he could just continue right where you left off. So that was pretty impressive. And like I said, this is all conference stuff and all demo stuff. I don't know if it will be like that, but what they showed was very impressive if they're able to pull that off.
Yeah, for sure. Like the way I saw it, and if you guys saw my timeline, like my whole thing changed. Like at the beginning when I saw that it was streamed, like, oh fuck, streaming, this is some bullshit, But as I saw it, the presentation, I'm like, oh, okay, this is serious right now. Like the part that got me was when he started playing it on all those different devices. If it works like that, and we're gonna get into all that, that's pretty crazy. And it kind of makes the idea, not the actual physical thing, but just the idea of like a console kind of seem antiquated. I'm like, okay, if you could play a game, on your PC, on your laptop, on your phone, like they showed, like why would you need this thing and play it anywhere? I'm like, that's kind of interesting where they're trying to go for. Now, obviously, there's some like hurdles there, but I found the presentation, like you said, pretty impressive. And like you said, also, yeah, they're doing some voodoo behind the scenes with the latency, because that's the biggest hurdle. Because I was talking to Manny earlier. It's like internet infrastructure that could get better, that will get better over time, but you can't rewrite the laws of physics. You know what I'm saying? So they need to do something.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, to be honest, I do think there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors going on here, and I don't think that it'll exactly be able to replicate what they're going to be saying. Number one, the one part of the portion that nobody ever thinks about in these sorts of situations, like, yes, they have these nodes and these predictive nodes, and if you ever noticed if you ever read up on these things, well, the way they work is like, when you connect to them to give you the best experience, they connect you to the closest one. So they have multiple ones supposedly in the thing, but nobody ever talks about the trail of actually connecting to these nodes. If you remember, again, a lot of us in the United States and even in other countries don't have exactly the best internet. And who's to say that some cable company is not going to throttle this, because now it is legal to do that sort of thing? If you remember the net neutrality thing that happened pretty recently.
Well, that's
so who's to say that friggin' guys like Comcast will be like, well, we're gonna throw a little bit of a charge on this thing because it's streaming.
I think Google has greased the wheels, because he didn't mention that they have worked out things with ISPs, meaning that they know that exact concern, and they're going to have to mitigate it so that people don't have that issue.
And then the other thing that worries me, it's like, okay, yeah, we have a Wi-Fi control, but have you ever ran anything through Wi-Fi to try to control something else? There's already a lot of this stuff going on already. So what are they going to be doing about that? I failed to see this. Obviously we're not. The way this thing is working is essentially your controller is connecting through Wi-Fi to another thing, to a console that's in another person's house. That's the best way I can think of this sort of situation. But even that, I don't really believe that it would be that much of a clean experience. And I think the only people in that are going to probably have the best experiences, obviously it's going to be people that have better connection and people who are on the Google service in those 10 states or cities throughout the country.
I don't know. I'm not as skeptical as you are, because you're essentially what you're doing is just watching a YouTube video that you can play. That's pretty much what it is.
But there is the pipeline where it's like, okay, what if the thing doesn't get to you fast enough?
But what about the pipeline for YouTube? Like, everyone watches YouTube, and like billions of people watch YouTube.
Yeah, so and then also YouTube has its issues too. In fact, in their own stream, they were having issues.
Yeah, but it's like everything has issues.
I'm gonna say this. I mean, it has to be pretty close to infallible for a gaming experience. I think that, yes, this is a nice little, hey, this is fun because it's in everything. It's in your TV, it's in your Roku, it's in everywhere. So there's no barrier into you actually getting the damn thing. So even as skeptical as I am about this thing, I think, I'm like, all right, I'll try it too. Why not? Because it's like, it's there already. It's already sitting in every single thing that's Google related anyways.
They're going to give everybody a free trial. You already know that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know why I think this is going to succeed? And
Carlos, what are your thoughts about all that, man? Go ahead.
Like, I don't think this is going to be anywhere near a shit show. First of all, because it's fucking Google. Like,
Well, let Carlos finish, man. Go ahead, Carlos.
Let me finish, motherfucker. So the fucking because we're comparing it a lot. Like, their competition in gaming is like the two main ones is Nintendo and Microsoft, and also Sony. And Sony. Sony is notorious for half-assing all of their fucking shit, like motion controllers, their fucking VR, their like everything. Like they just dip their toes like halfway into everything. And Google, I think they have the infrastructure for this kind of stuff. Like Chris mentioned, all the data set, all the nodes for their data centers to communicate with. This has been in existence since for a while now. Like whenever you, like in the tech side, whenever you try to ping something, like to see like how fast it takes to communicate a website to something to see like how fast your internet is as far as latency, you always ping google.com because they always have the best reference point to try to communicate with a website. So I think this is like I don't really see it being. Yeah, you're gonna have issues. Like every service has issues. PSN is down. Xbox Live is down. Fucking Division servers were fucking down last night for like a millisecond. So like there's always gonna be something like going wrong with everything. There's always defects into everything. So, but as far as just seeing this as a viable option to game in, as a viable platform, I think that I'm a believer.
All right, Manny, the rebuttal.
Officially, I don't think it's. I don't believe in the smoke and mirrors that a lot of this was. It literally was just the Sony conference, just talking in circles because they had pretty much nothing to talk about. I mean, we're trying to sell it to people that, okay, yes, this is the future, but we don't even exactly know what it is. It didn't even say what it was. Are we going to be buying it? Are we going to be subscribing to it? What are we doing? That's another thing. It's like, okay, yeah, well, they have at least two partners we can even mention, which is Ubisoft and ID Software with Doom, which I mean, Doom runs on fucking everything. That's not a showcase.
But are we talking about it working as a system or just having good games? Like if we're talking
I'm talking about not only providing you can have a wonderful working system, right? But if you don't have the games to run it,
but that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
He's just talking about the system. He's talking about the actual system itself, not the games.
And then the other thing, it's like, yeah, the other thing is, it's like, okay, they're trying to do so many things in there. I feel like they were kind of failing at exactly showing it and also putting their best foot forward as to how these things work. The biggest one I have to say is their supposed assistance for game development with their machine learning. That thing was the biggest piece of bullshit I've ever seen.
You mean hip hop gamer mode?
Yeah. Essentially, you're running assisting a game developer is, but with style, is by applying a fucking Instagram or Pinterest fucking what do they call it, filter on everything. Come on, guys, seriously, that is not going to help. I mean, a lot of things, especially when developing a game, you are not going to be throwing anything like that, especially if you're going to go do that. And to be honest, it's almost insulting to say that, to compare that to something like a game like Rhyme, which is actually a specific style that they're going for. And we'll see the other things on there. It's like, you run out MatPat right there, right? To literally just say the same goddamn shit that the other people were just saying in a different way. And that's what's happened throughout most of this presentation. Everybody's saying the same sorts of things over and over and over again, but not really showing anything. Phil Harrison, and then also, of course, Phil Harrison had to have his water demo. If you remember,
the side by side.
Screen. He had to do his water demo because that's a leftover from Sony back in the day. Remember when they showed the rubber ducks in the tub? Then they're saying that water is the most water caustics are the most difficult thing to render. You remember the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 were supposedly be able to do that sort of thing.
That's a while back too.
And then the other thing, I mean, yes, they have two experienced people from the game industry, but if you look at both of their track records, they're not exactly the best people to be having in those sorts of positions. You could look at a guy like Phil Harrison, a man who essentially retired from Sony, at a pretty blousy time at Sony. Then he goes to Atari. Fucking Atari closes. When that happens, he spends maybe 3 years at Microsoft. We haven't heard anything from it. Then he leaves.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. So that reason why I don't have faith in a lot of this is because of some of the people they have in these positions are involved, and just also this presentation was just a lot of fluff. I mean, yeah, we saw the little demo of them, putting one to one on the different things. But how many times have we not seen that sort of thing but done before on something else? And then, how are we sure is that sort of thing going to be working physically within our world? Yes, it's a closed. It's great to see it on a stage, but the thing is, that's a closed environment. Even friggin' what is that? The PlayStation. What is it? Their streaming service.
PS Now.
Yeah, PS Now. Even that worked. That thing worked brilliantly when it was on the E3 show floor. I played it there, but then I got it home and I'm friggin' lagging on goddamn Dragon's Lair.
Well, I mean, there's people who say it, like, swear by it for some reason.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I mean, I don't know much about this, but I think a lot of people have the Netflix syndrome having it with it. It's a service they have. They barely look at it, and it keeps automatically taking money out of their account, and they just kind of leave it there because it's only like $10 a month.
Yeah, like as far as it having games that are worth investing into the platform, then yeah, that's I think that's a different conversation, because this conference clearly wasn't about how they were going to establish their own, like they just barely mentioned their first party studio that they assembled. Like, I don't think they're even anywhere near preparing for a new game or like new games. I think they just barely assembled people and got ready for this conference, because I think what they wanted to show was the tech. I think this is what
sorry to interrupt. I almost feel like they looked at what Microsoft was doing with their service, what the coming service that they're going to be having with the xCloud, and they're like, oh shit, yeah, we could do that. We have all that stuff happening. We ain't using these things anyway, so hey, yeah, let's throw a game console on that. That's what it seems like.
Or game platform.
Excuse me, a blame platform. I mean, to be honest, it is literally a game, like a game console that's not even in your house. And then the other part of it, the sad part of it all, it's just the thing of going all digital. It's like, okay, well, one of those days, a company loses the rights to a certain property, and then poof, the game goes away. And how do we, if this is going to be a gaming service, like quote unquote Netflix or Sony's platform or even anything, that means that a lot of these games are probably going to be leaving. They're going to be cycling them in and out.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, but I think that's just the way it is now, unfortunately,
Like, to be honest, yeah. I mean, if I want to play, like you see the way I play games, right? Like nowadays, I don't have the time to play games as much as I do. So what? All of a sudden, I'm playing, Kingdom Hearts on the Google platform, and 6 months later, then I finally be able to get back to it. Holy shit, my fucking game is gone.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern for sure. I do want to address some of the misconceptions, because I really believe that a lot of gamers are, and I'm just going to say the term, they're short-sighted. They don't see what's coming, or they're so stuck in their old ways they don't see, what this is. Like, I'm just going to call him out by name, fucking Black Metal Gamer. He was like, yo, like this thing's kind of cool, but I don't want to pay more than $200 or $300 for it. I'm like, bro, it's not a system. It's just, and then another one, somebody said, oh, I don't want to pay $60 for a streamed game. I'm like, you won't pay $60. It's going to be a service, So I just find it interesting how people are trying to apply, like, the way we've always done gaming to this. It's a different thing, And
I mean, we don't know exactly what the thing is. I mean, the likely candidate is it's going to be some sort of service, but I mean, you kind of already pay $60 for a file. Right now,
yeah.
So
the other one's like, oh yeah, it's like I'll pre-order. I'm like, what are you pre-ordering? The fucking controller? Because there's nothing to pre-order. Right? I found that very interesting. By the way, and I need to say this, that controller looks way fucking better than that shit they showed before. Remember that fucking prototype? Ugh. This thing. Yeah.
Also, mind you, let me also say that.
And they put the analog sticks in the right place.
Yeah. Well, you want to know where that comes from, right? They got a former Sony guy doing that stuff. The guy that designed the PlayStation Eye and the Move controllers and a bunch of the other really cool advancements at Sony. He's at Google now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, I'm looking at some of the chatter here in the chat. These guys are not happy about the the all digital future. Listen, man, and here's the thing, and I don't know how many times I could say this, and people don't seem to understand. I don't want this, right? I do not want an all digital. I like physical, but I'm also not crazy enough to deny what I see in front of me. This is coming. This is going to be the main thing in 20 years. 5 years from now, no. You're still going to have your regular consoles and your games. I'm talking about 20 years from now. And again, like I said, if you're a kid that grows up with nothing but stream games, you're going to look at a console like, what the fuck is, what were you guys doing? You know, I'm not doing that shit. I want to play my games anywhere. You know, the convenience, and we said this before, and this is also true of music and movies, right? Convenience is it trumps quality, right? CDs sound way better than MP3s. People don't give a fuck. MP3s are easy. Movies, right? Your Blu-ray looks way better than fucking Netflix. People don't care. They want Netflix. Same thing's gonna happen to games. Us, we're like, nah, because we know the deal. We know, what's up. But younger kids, and that's the thing. By the way, Manny and I were having like a little bit of a heated debate about this, but it was because we weren't seeing kind of eye to eye. Like Manny knows what's up too. Manny knows exactly where this is going.
I'm not gonna fool myself into thinking that this stuff is not gonna happen. It's gonna happen, but at the same time, I was just looking at this whole situation from what Google was currently showing us. And to be honest, I am not really that impressed with what they've had to show. But I'm willing to see, in the whenever maybe they'll show up at E3 and do a little bit more of a solid presentation rather than this kind of like, this thing is the greatest place so you can make these things, and we're gonna throw you a 4K video over the things. Like, at the same time, it's like, what, Netflix does 4K video, but really it's all condensed. It's not really 4K.
Yeah, they said it's going to be they're going to have the actual games during the summer, so we'll see about that. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I can see both their points. Like I more agree with Manny. Like Google has a sketchy track record. Development on major platforms that they have, including Android and stuff, has a whole host of issues.
The Android store is kind of like it's kind of shitty, to be honest.
And Android itself is not very good. They said this platform is gonna, like it says, gonna run on Linux using the open Vulkan open graphics stuff, and it's gonna support Unreal and Unity. But the key thing here is like this architecture is so new that for developers to take advantage of it, Google really wants them to develop for Stadia, right? Not for systems, not for consoles, and not for a single PC. They want people to leverage like multi-threading and not only that, being able to tap into multiple GPUs, which is something you can't do maybe on a boss gaming rig, right? Where you can hook things up in SLI and stuff, but not on a console. You can't do that. So how would you leverage that stuff unless you were developing straight for Google's system? And the other thing is like, I don't know. Like honestly, this question came up a long time ago. I remember on Thought on Your Questions. I think Richard was on, and I agreed. I don't really trust Google with data or otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, pay them a subscription and play games so they can watch everything I do. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
We talk about, everybody says, oh yeah, it's Google. It's like, no, the friggin' Google had their version of Facebook, which literally leaked a bunch of people's personal information all over the goddamn place. But rather than fix the damn thing because they don't know how to, they're closing it fucking down. Google Plus.
Facebook does that too. Everyone does it. It's like
Facebook too. But I'm saying the thing is that rather than even trying to fix it, just like, we're going to give it up anyway. Yeah, and that's the way Google just does it. It's like, in other words, they try it. You talk about like half steps. Google always dips their toe in, and they fail at it, and they just go on to the next thing.
By the way, shout out to Brian. I'm guessing daylight saving time is still fucking you up, right?
Yeah, I thought it was done by now.
Nah, man, it's not gonna be done until was it November or something?
The start of fall, so like maybe October, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But Brian, since you're here, what are your thoughts on Google Stadia?
I think it's a cool thing. I like the idea, but whether or not it actually works, given the infrastructure, is a whole other story. But it seems like it needs a lot of bandwidth for it to work properly, and the bandwidth isn't here in most places. So it seems like it's more of a thing for the future, not a thing for right now.
Well, Brian, Phil Harrison in an interview said that they can pipe 4K 60 plus the inputs through not less than 30 megabits per second. Now, I
What are your
don't
thoughts on
understand
that?
how
Yeah.
they're doing that.
Yeah, it sounds like when you Chris, the way you explain that sounds like they're doing some really crazy shit that they don't want to explain to people in order to get this done.
Let me
You know?
stream a
Yeah,
4K movie on Netflix right
Yeah,
now and see how much it
and
takes.
it's kind of interesting
yeah.
because Manny and I were discussing that too. Is like because you can't bend the laws of physics. So like, are they going to have some predictive thing? And Chris, you said they may be doing that, right?
Yeah, I think so because he was saying there was things he couldn't discuss happening at the data center, which I'm thinking there must be some kind of predictive AI shit going on and some kind of crazy compression and shit. Like, how else would you be able to do this?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
grease the palms of the ISPs, like you mentioned. Like
Well,
I'm
oh,
pretty
that,
sure
yeah,
that's
well,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
Yeah. I mean, the backbone only extends so far, and then you go through your ISP. See, when Phil Harrison was like, "Oh, we bypass the public internet," I'm like, "No, you can't really, dude. You can't really because everybody has a router provided by Time Warner or AT&T or whatever. So, like Manny said, unless you're lucky enough to have Google Fiber, I
Mm,
don't see how you're gonna bypass all that stuff."
yep.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. But yeah, I think we're all agreement. Like, yeah, this is really something for the future. Right now, it stands to we'll have to see what it is, but I think it's kind of interesting what they're trying to do because a lot of people are kind of getting tired of like multiple different platforms. They just want one thing, and they could take anywhere you want. The Switch has proven that people are willing to give up quality in order to just have like ease of use. So I see this, becoming like a thing. Will it be Google? Who knows? I don't know that, but this, streaming games specifically is a thing. Again, I don't like it, but that's the future,
I think
And I
I
and I
think
think
I
yeah,
think for
yeah.
what, like a place like Nintendo has always kind of salvaged the actual full on the giving you a full on quality rather than just something that's somewhat more affordable. It's always been that way. You going back to even to the previous Nintendo consoles. It's always been like as they say in Metal Gear, it's always currently existing technology. Or a technology that's about a year or two old that they're using.
Yeah. Let me see. Mighty Nerd says the type of data centers needed for game streaming cost millions of dollars to operate. Now, if you factor in the amount of data centers needed to accommodate the potential millions of gamers just here in the U.S., these companies might as well create a console. What do you think about that?
It's interesting because you just look at you're looking at I had a look at the map again, and like if you notice that there's a concentration of the data centers in the on the coastal cities and all that stuff, but then you look in the center of toward the center of the country and it's pretty barren there. There's only like one or two there, even same places like in places like South America that like Brazil, like part of Brazil is totally like ass out of luck. They don't even have any data centers there. Parts of Russia. There's only like the few in Russia. If we're gonna go connecting that way. So I mean, it's
Well, because Russia's like pretty sparse as a country too.
yeah. I mean, but I think I think. I think he's right about it, but I think with them with those data centers is that they're already using something they have that's already out there. It's something that they're probably not getting a lot of use out of. So they're like, okay, so let's turn this let's turn this computing power that we started installing everywhere, and then turn it into some sort of gaming platform. It's kind of what Microsoft is doing too with their network. Remember what is it? What is that one called?
xCloud, right?
No, not xCloud. It's using something within them.
Oh, I don't know.
Chris, you remember what the name of that thing is?
Wait, what are you referring to?
So Microsoft, to run whatever their services, they're using something that's specific to Microsoft. It's some
What,
sort of
Azure?
yeah. Aren't they using something like they're using
Well,
that to
that's their
kind of
data center stuff. Yeah, the
yeah.
database and infrastructure. Yeah, it's
So
called
it's
Azure.
so essentially, it's a very similar sort of situation with Microsoft and what Google are doing. They're using these data centers to kind of run their game thing off of.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the main thing they invested in was the data center, and they said they worked with AMD to create these custom GPUs that can scale. So that may be where the biggest part of the investment was, because they were already digging up the ground and putting in Google Fiber, getting these entry nodes for all their other services. That stuff they were already putting in place. That wasn't for
Yeah,
gaming.
it's already they were
7
using it.
teraflops.
Yeah, the
Oh,
was it
yeah,
10
they bragged
teraflops? Yeah.
10.7 teraflops. Yeah.
No, Xbox
But-
One X, man.
Did you see those fucking memes where it's like showing the PS4 Pro versus the the Xbox One X and then the fucking that one chip?
No, I didn't see those memes. That sounds funny though.
Yeah, that's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, 'cause
People
this
are
thing-
fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like this thing has as many teraflops as the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X combined.
Pretty much.
You know,
Yep.
almost. You know, a little bit give and take, but essentially that. You know. But you know, again, you know, a lot of things have to change. You know, internet infrastructure because again, people watching this presentation at 720p and it was still buffering for some people. So,
Yeah.
You know, so we got a lot of
Literally-
shit to do.
Yeah, you literally say it's funny we're talking about streaming stuff, and literally the friggin' stream itself is having issues. Granted, they did supposedly were broadcasting it at like, you know, ultra HD.
Yeah, I mean,
supposedly.
I didn't have that issue, but some people did. You know.
Oh no, it's in the video actually. They were having issues. You can even see the friggin' frames would
really?
freeze and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, there's a lot of hurdles to overcome. But this is where shit is going, man. Just become a retro gamer. That's what I plan to do.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, like even like games like the Division 2, it's like it's pointless to play it if you don't have an internet connection.
Yeah, exactly.
But what if it was a little bit of a different situation? So okay, maybe it's not. Maybe let's talk about future platforms where it's like maybe it's not exactly an idea of actually streaming from a company, but actually loading in something on your side and having it work that way.
I don't
Or
know.
like console.
Well, not maybe not a console, but some sort of thing. Where in other words, it's not exactly it's not exactly a service like that. Where it's like it's in other words an idea of like where it loads into something and that's how you're running your game. Hmm? I mean, that would probably clear out the latency problem, and you were still essentially having those. You still have your archive of games, whatever.
But how is that different from a console, though?
Mhm.
Well, that's what you.
It's a console. It's a console you're describing, basically.
Well, like either that or it's like the whole Crackdown 3, where like the processing, like the heavy processing, is done in the cloud, and
Yeah.
like that.
So,
kind
like in other words, it's a sort of a double handshake.
Yeah.
it's like
Or it's not actually totally on your system, but it's also not actually totally. You're not totally running it on the cloud either.
meet me halfway kind of thing.
Yeah, that could make sense. By the way, this reminds me of something Torrance posted in a private chat. I need to do this. I need to do this. This is hilarious. You guys remember Shaz, right? Crazy motherfucker.
Shut up, Shaz.
So Shaz, he texts Torrance asking, "Hey, what online storage site do you use that allows other users to view digital home videos?" Torrance replies with YouTube. Oh, it's Shaz. I'm like, son, that's crazy. Also reminds me of something I think I saw it on Facebook years ago, where somebody was like, "Man, I wish they would invent a way where you could, like, you know, instead of just texting somebody, you could just talk and it'll text, and then they'll get on their end, but it'll also just talk back." I'm like, "You mean a phone?" It's like, "No, not a phone." It's like, "Yeah,
Not
a
a
phone." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." Oh man, but yeah, Google Stadia. We shall see what happens. We're gonna see the actual games. They said they're gonna have exclusive for this thing. Stadia Games is the name of the studio, so we're gonna see what's up, because that's the other thing people were talking about. They were like, if this thing doesn't have, they're like, if this thing doesn't have exclusives, I don't, what's the point? And I'm like, dude, the you know what the exclusive is? The big exclusive, taking it anywhere you want on anything you want. That's the exclusive, But yeah, games on the go. That's a big thing. People want that. But
It's not everywhere you want it.
I had a really good segue, but that's a couple of topics off. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's not everywhere. Yeah, if you live in the fucking sticks, but if you live in the city,
It's not-
you're good.
I mean, well, maybe they'd have to make. They also have to make a. They talked about phones, but they didn't talk about specific phones. What if it's not working for your iPhone?
Yeah, I guess we shall see.
What if it's not working for your Windows phone?
Oh,
I mean, they make these sort of blanket statements, and there's still there's still little bits of holes that you can kind of poke into all of that.
GZDR, you shouldn't have said that because I already got a joke ready for that. He goes, the only thing that will kill the streaming game talk is to bring up the military. Just ask, what about the military? They can't stream on the go or they will give away their positions. Well, they have a game console for them. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. The Xbox 360. Where they can play a Call of Duty from 10 years ago.
Oh, man. I had to do that, man. You set me up, son. I had to do it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man. Shout out to Don Matrick, man. All right, let's move on, man.
I mean,
ahead,
Is he working for Google too?
No.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, they're just all snatching up all the snatching all these old names that that have just kind of lost anything. Like Jade Raymond, former Sony guy.
Yeah, it was like Phil Harrison.
It's like Phil Harrison. Where the hell have you been, guy?
Hey, listen, you know what I wanted? I wanted Phil Harrison to explain to me where those trophies from PlayStation Home are.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah.
He was talking all that shit. Oh yeah, we're gonna have trophies in the homeroom. Like, word?
It's funny. It's funny because there was all this shit that's connected to him that was totally left undone when he just decided to resign from Sony. Boop, gone. Like, and then he's again did just to go to Atari, which also went. Pfft. So it's like, I don't know, man. Phil Harrison, maybe he does know something, but I don't know. He doesn't have a track record that's really worth anything. But it's to be honest, to me, it seems like he's kind of failed upward.
Yeah.
Well, he's a name. He's had a position at a prominent position at a well-known place. So it's like they just
but man, he's right. He's been floundering. He's floundered somehow upwards. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's how. I don't want to get political, but
yeah, we're not going to get to it. Anyway, last thoughts on Google Stadia before we move on.
My last thought, listening to Phil Harrison talk about this shit, I got Peter Molyneux vibes sometimes. Some of the shit he said, definitely, I got Peter Molyneux vibes. I was man.
He's British?
It's just the way he was saying stuff. And then I read this interview later where he was elaborating where he really didn't elaborate on shit. And I was like, I
imagine
Molyneux vibes, man.
Imagine they get the dream team. It's like Molyneux, Phil Harrison, they got fucking David Jaffe.
They're not gonna touch David Jaffe with a 10-foot pole. I'll tell you that, especially with the way he's now on the internet.
Yeah, he's kind of
that dude is just burning up his legacy in a friggin' volcano. That's what he's doing. But if he's happy doing it, whatever. Crazy. No, they'll get former Microsoft guy. What's his face?
Who? Peter Moore?
Don Matrick.
Yeah. They'll get Don Matrick and Peter Moore.
Oh man, there you go. All right, man. Let's move on here. NPDs came out, people.
Whoa.
Yeah, some interesting results here. I'm just gonna read the top 10. Actually, excuse me, top 20. I wish Brett was here because he'd probably gloat a little bit. The number one game, to my surprise, despite all the bullshit surrounding it, Anthem, number one selling game.
Wow.
And this is not digital. Digital sales.
I told you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, right. And digital sales were not included for it, which is crazy. Now, here's the big surprise. Jump Force is number 2.
Whoa.
Like, what? Like, is this Yeah, Jump Force. I'm like, is this Japanese NPDs? What the fuck?
Yeah, that was shocking to me.
Yeah, number 3, Kingdom Hearts 3, Far Cry New Dawn, number 4. Number 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil. God.
I was like,
you added a little bit too much to that too.
Wait, there was a 6? I thought they just skipped 6.
Imagine something nutty like that happen where a game from like 5 or 6 years ago just all of a sudden just magically appears on the NPDs for no fucking reason.
Well, it happened with Black Ops, was Modern Warfare 2, right? It happened. It jumped back there,
It wasn't the same game anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, Resident Evil 2, number 6.
Yeah, right.
Number 7, Smash Brothers. You already know. Metro Exodus, which we will talk about again a little bit later on. Number 8. Number 9, NBA 2K19. Number 10, Call of Duty. Number 11, New Super Mario Brothers. Number
Okay.
12, Mario Kart, always. Brian's favorite, very low on the list though. Number 13, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yo, what's going on, GTA? You slipping?
Yeah, you slipping, man. You got to get back up there, you know. Assassin's Creed Odyssey still holding it down. Number 14, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, number 15, man. That shit
Breath
ain't
of the
going nowhere,
Wild.
That's still up there.
you know. Oh shit!
You need a Zelda game. No.
Yo, I just realized Mario Odyssey's not on this shit no more. Uh oh. Uh oh.
Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah, but it's all
By the way,
good. Yeah, go
shout
ahead.
out to Rich. He says, "Where's Crackdown 3?"
Oh, yo,
Oh,
I'm looking at this list. It ain't on it.
Yo, it better be
It
in the
ain't
top
on it.
10.
Yo,
the
number
Xbox.
number 20 is Spider-Man, son. Think about
Spider-Man,
that.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Yeah, Madden number 19, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, number 18, and Mario Party 17. So yeah, there's a list. Yeah, no Crackdown. Crackdown ain't nowhere on this shit.
Damn. Game Pass.
Game right? Shit.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like Microsoft kind of sabotaged themselves on that one. They're like, all right, we'll just put it on the Game Pass, and then nobody bought it, or didn't. Not a lot of people bought it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's way cheaper just to get Game Pass and play.
But
It's
did
almost like a test bed where you're just like, you know what? It's not that good of a game, but you know what? It's free on here, so we'll try it out.
but wasn't fucking Sea of Thieves at least on NPD at least once?
I think Sea of Thieves was on NPDs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crackdown was like, damn.
yeah, they never.
Hold on. What the hell was the highest selling? I'm gonna assume it's the Switch. Probably the highest selling console.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm gonna assume that. I don't see that.
We know which one wasn't. So
Yeah, you know, the ooh yeah, man.
the Ouya man, the
Well,
fucking
isn't the
Stadia.
Switch is an Ouya?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. By the way, there it is. Yeah, Switch was the best selling console. There you go. All right, so we got the MPs out the way. All right, let's talk about Cuphead, man. Coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. With the Chivos, man.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. You still need to. It's going to be connected with Xbox Live. Yeah, that's nuts. So you're going to get achievements. with this
So
shit.
Oh, that's interesting. So
Yes.
so essentially, I guess this is the first step.
Yeah,
that's
Pretty much.
interesting. Shit.
I wish Brett was here. He has no excuse now, motherfucker. Play that Cuphead.
Yeah, he can play that. Shit. He's gonna think it's the greatest game ever. now
now that it's on Switch, yep.
that it's
Yeah,
on
right.
Switch, right?
So here's my question:
Yeah.
Can you double dip on Chivos?
No, it's not like the PlayStation Vita where you could double dip on it. No, I think it just synchronizes with it. You know, like kind of like the way some of the later Vita games were, where in other words, you get the trophy trophy in one thing, and then it automatically pops for both. You know, it shares the same list.
So
Hey,
I wonder.
By the way, Brett's ears are burning. He just showed up. What's going on, Brett?
You motherfuckers talking about me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
man.
Yeah, I said you have no excuse now. You got to get Cuphead. It's coming to Switch, man.
Oh, I'm stoked. I am so stoked.
That's awesome.
I'm really actually excited. The Pro Controller is actually quite nice, so I'm looking forward to using it.
Yes. Anyway,
Just
Carl.
get it?
Yeah. Call it. I mean, Brett, you guys got the Pro Controller?
Yeah, I got the Pro Controller for my Switch, so I'm really. I have a Pro Controller for my Switch, and I have an old Xbox controller for my PC controller. So honestly, it's kind of an upgrade. So I was looking at it, and honestly, I just don't enjoy. I'm like Manny. I don't enjoy playing in my workspace. So
Hey, I don't either, man. Fuck that shit. You know. Anyway,
No, man.
Carlos, what were you gonna say, man, about Cuphead on Switch and Chivos?
Oh no. So no, well it's because when Brett showed up, I was gonna say like, yeah, like I was gonna say something like I was gonna make a funny about Brett and Switch, just like because he didn't know that we knew that he was here. So, but yeah,
but then I showed up and ruined it.
Ruined it.
Tony
I-
ruined it.
I knew he was here, man. Nothing gets by me. I got the Eye of Sauron, motherfuckers.
like Rockstar.
Yeah. By the way, the Eye of Sauron is OBS. Just boop, there's
Oh,
Brett.
yeah. So yeah,
go ahead.
I wonder how it'll get received. Someone mentioned, I don't know if it was in the Discord. Shout out to the Discord. Or it was on Twitter, that this game will probably have more people finishing it than on Xbox, and I think that'll be true.
Will people be? Will certain people be complaining about its difficulty on the Switch version, or has that blood already been been spread?
Those guys play Meat Boy. They're fine, you know.
Yeah, honestly, they're a little bit more like. I'll be honest, the fucking Hyrule,
Hyrule Warriors.
the Hyrule trials to get the Master Sword were actually fairly fucking difficult.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I've played plenty of games on the Switch that you're like, this is actually kind of fucking hard. And Tony's right. Like, the people play Super Meat Boy, like, they'll be fine. Binding of Isaac, these guys love that shit.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. My first instinct was like, "Oh shit, is it gonna have an easy mode now?" Because in Nintendo, then I remember the Switch has a lot of hard ass games that are harder than Cuphead. So yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, these motherfuckers paid $50 for Binding of Isaac 10 years after it came out.
Right.
Pretty sure.
Apparently, there will be a physical copy of Cuphead. So there later this year.
Fuck, man.
There you go.
I'm telling you, man, as soon as I freaking go to all day digital, man, like shit like this happens.
Yeah, right. Hold on a second. Let me read that. Kristen said those trials took her forever. So there you go, Brett. You're not alone, my friend.
You're not alone.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna.
They knew you just wanted the sword that wouldn't break, and they made it hard on you.
Oh man. By the way, at the end of the show, I'm gonna cycle back because I want your impressions of the Google thing, Brett. But we'll just keep it going for now. Okay. So yeah, Cuphead. Any other thoughts on it coming to Switch?
Great game, get it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I haven't played it, but I think it's a really cool thing. You know. And I definitely think it's a fun idea that they allowed that sort of connectivity too, where it's like, okay, Cuphead runs on a thing.
And I was thinking, I think maybe it was like off of Tony's tweet or something. He's talking about it's one of the best games of this gen. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's probably one of my top 10 actually this generation.
Fuck it, it's one of the best games of this generation. It's fucking amazing. I have myself muted. There's something else I wanted. Oh yeah, segue. Okay, so what I found funny about this announcement was, you saw the PlayStation fanboys. They were making fun of the Xbox, like, you guys lost another game. You guys lost another game. And literally a few hours later, those same guys were mad because Quantic Dreams games are going to be on fucking the Epic Store. It's like, what the fuck am I buying a PlayStation for? All the exclusives are going.
I mean, it's only one game that was an exclusive, and we also don't know how much Quantic Dream had of that.
Manny, 3 games, my friend.
Oh, they're doing what's that other one?
Heavy Rain and
Heavy Rain. So like the 2 old games and then the new one. All right, sure. I mean, to be honest, like again, I don't know how much of those games that they own or what kind of deal they already have with Sony that allows it to be possible. I know Quantic Dream is funded by that crazy Chinese company.
Which one? Tencent?
Yeah, Tencent. So.
Correct us if I'm wrong about that.
I think it was Tencent or some other Chinese company, but that's one of the things that they were, why they're able to kind of somewhat go third party. I mean, It's funny. I see that Quantic Dream almost like
NetEase, Manny. NetEase. Thank you, Glorious War.
NetEase. There we go. NetEase. So yeah, they're funded by those guys. So it's like they got Chinese money. So they probably said, all right, you know what, pay Sony off, and we could get this shit to happen. I feel like they are almost like Remedy. They're like Sony's version of Remedy, where like Remedy was like, all about Microsoft. They were doing Microsoft exclusives. They did okay, but then eventually they just said, you know what, let's go and let's be on our own. I think that's the step for Quantic Dream. Why not? Why not allow those games to go on there? Eventually, everything is going to make it onto some other console. It's going to happen.
Yeah. But I just find it funny that the same guys are making fun of the Xbox, were mad because this game,
No, the thing losing a Quantic Dream game is not that much of a big deal, guys. Losing fucking God of War, now that's a big deal. If you ever saw that shit on another console, that's a reason to go lose your mind. But what, Heavy Rain in those games, why not?
Yeah, they probably weren't even born when fucking Metal Gear went multiplat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So there's that. By the way, that's something we actually talked. Both of those stories were something we talked about as rumors a couple weeks ago, but now they're real. Okay, so this is interesting. When speaking about the Epic Game Store, it turns out that Metro Exodus has sold better on the Epic Game Store than any of the other games have on Steam. But the reporting is a little disingenuous, right? Like, think about it like this, right? When the last Metro game came out, Brian, what's the name of the last one?
Exodus.
Metro, that's like
Last Light, yeah.
Oh.
When that game came out, PC gaming wasn't as big as it is now. And then, this game also got a lot of attention for it. So, people, none of them are reporting that. But with that said, a lot of people are still mad that the game is still not on Steam, which is kind of interesting. So Brian, what's your take on, the success of Metro? I think they didn't give out exact numbers, but they said it sold 2.5 times better than Last Light.
Yeah, I feel like those numbers again. They're okay. They are numbers, yes, but the problem is that they don't tell the whole story. Again, what you need to consider is that when was Tony? You've been to E3. Was Last Light ever at E3?
Not that I know of. Not when I went to E3. Not that I know of.
I am pretty certain that no Metro game has ever been at E3. So it's
Yeah.
never been in the public eye like that. And Metro has always been just one of those games that has just existed and that's it. Kind of like how The Witcher 3 was kind of like a game, and then something like Witcher 3 came out, and everyone has like this massive fanfare. So I feel like a lot of stuff has to do with the fact that Exodus was marketed a lot more. It was at E3, had way bigger budget, and all sorts. So I feel like that's a bit unfair to say. And as Tony has said, PC gaming has also grown since then, so hence it makes sense that there's a large audience for people to buy the game. So I don't think that it's fair to say that hey, it's doing really well on Epic Games, hence Epic Games makes sense. Like, no, it's just doing really well because again, more eyes on it.
Yeah.
Personally,
It's kind of like when a movie does really well when it's screening everywhere and the ticket prices are really expensive.
and you're not allowed refunds.
Yeah,
film.
right.
Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, I just don't. Again, on the one side, it's like, hey, Metro's doing well. Like, I'm a big fan of Metro games, so Metro doing well is always good for me because then it means that chances are we get more games, which is great. I'm not a fan of how Epic are doing this. I think it's just bad for consumers because if you are forcing people to use a social launcher for your game, I think it's bullshit. I had the same problem when EA did their stuff with Origin, and then Uplay did their stuff. It's like this isn't good for consumers because you're forcing them to say, hey, you must use this thing to play this game or else you're screwed. Like, no, just put it on all the launchers, and then you say, okay, you know what, gamers, you can pick your poison. You want to go here? Do you want to go there? Do you want to go there? I understand that some developers want to go with Epic because Epic takes like a lower share of the games, so that's a thing. But still, it's like the whole idea is that consumers should have the choice of which launcher they want to use, and hence the whole Epic thing I'm not a fan of. And then you hear news about Outer Worlds and that bullshit. So hence it's like, come on, like this is just some nonsense now.
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on this? I'll take that as a no. Brian's the big Metro guy, so obviously he's gonna have some thoughts on it. Again, my whole thing is like I just found the way it was reporting bad. It was. I'm like, come on, guys, you guys aren't telling the whole truth here. People are like, oh, that's it. It's the end of Steam. Come on, guys. Fuck is wrong
Well,
with you?
for one fucking game,
Yeah,
come
it's
on,
like-
guys.
yeah.
I noticed that this last people just make these sorts of like black and white things, like, oh, it's gonna kill it. Google Play is gonna kill everything. Epic Game Store is gonna kill everything. You know what? It's probably gonna exist in tandem with everything else. And to be honest, it's always good to have some sort of competition, But then that also means that you have platform platform exclusives, which is kind of sucky, especially on PC.
Yeah, that's just how it am. All right, and the last main story here. Okay, so Apex Legends has the highest. Let me read this whole thing. The highest free-to-play launch sales. Like, basically, it's because it's a free game. It's a free game, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it already made 92 million off of microtransactions.
I'm gonna tell you, man, that's the rope-a-dope right there for you, man. You get everybody. You give everybody a free pass to come in the door and have fun, and then they see they can buy some cool stuff on the walls, and then that's where you make your money, man.
Yeah,
it's like going to an amusement park. You know, it's
like
like,
a free like a free. Imagine that amusement park that's free. Tickets, you don't need tickets, just show up. But they got a bunch of stuff there. You know.
yeah, they got a bunch of souvenirs and stuff like that. So they're literally, it's like, you have free reign. You can ride all the rides all you want, but you see that shirt over there on the thing. You got to pay for that. That's not free. You got to pay for the food. You got to pay for all these other things, but you could ride the rides for free.
Yeah, and the game sold, quote unquote sold, because it's free, the most on consoles. But interestingly, they didn't say which console sold more on. You just said consoles. You know.
Well, they're not going to favorite anything unless they have a specific deal with anybody.
You know, this is from Super Data. They're a Nielsen company. Nielsen does the fucking the rate. What the fuck? The Nielsen box
rating for TV.
Yeah, Nielsen, yeah.
Nielsen actually handles multiple things now, where you get a box that literally counts every single thing that you do. So like counts how much time you watch, but you have to specifically activate it. So it's like you count it counts how many things you do, and you say, okay, playing a game, playing this, and then you kind of log those things in, and that's how they get it.
Yeah, crazy. All right, and now to close the circle. Brett, what are your thoughts on Google Stadia? Did you see the presentation or at least read about it?
I didn't, and I'm actually interested to be live spoiled. So tell me what's going on.
Okay, because we actually did a whole thing, almost a kind of debate too. Chris, you want to give them a quick rundown again?
Yeah. So Google at GDC, they announced that, and basically all you're buying is a controller, and it's connecting through Wi-Fi to their data centers and backbone. Their data centers running the entire game, no install. You're able to start the game from multiple places, like even a link from a YouTube video can run the game off of Stadia and pipe it to you. What else did we go over? Wi-Fi. Phil Harrison in an interview said 4K 60 is possible with the controls and everything piped to you in under between 20 and 30 megabits per second, which is astounding. I don't know how that works. No
It,
details on the infrastructure, no details on pricing. They didn't even mention pricing, so we don't know any of that. And we don't know the details of how the data center is working. They said they have scalable GPUs, custom made from AMD, so they're going to have data centers full of these scalable GPUs that your instance of the game can pull as much power as it needs to operate at that high level.
yeah, so it's basically a streaming service. As long as you have, Google, you could play it on your PC, on your laptop, on your phone, on your TV, whatever.
That's great in theory. It will never work in practice.
Yeah. By the way, during the demo, they actually showed somebody playing, starting the game on their PC, switching over to laptop, switching over to the phone, and then switching over to the TV.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they did hours of extensive bandwidth testing and had backup plans for their network connection. They were not going to risk a shoddy network connection there, like 80% of the goddamn US has. Here's the problem. I have Google Fiber. My friends don't. So when I can download a game, even quote unquote lightning fast, thanks to that 100 megabyte per second cap there, PlayStation. Even when I can get blazing fast internet speeds, my friends can't. I know people 6 miles away who have shit internet connection, and that is going to cause a huge problem. But let's take it one step further and look at the trend of data caps that all of these providers are pushing. The writing is on the wall. They are going to push for data limitation caps. You are going to be charged more for using a higher bandwidth. It's unfortunate, but it appears to be the trend that's going to be coming down on all of us. I already know people who, not on a mobile service, just on their landline, just on their internet streaming, they have a hard cap, and they hit it just from streaming Netflix, just from streaming movies, just from leaving the TV on too long. They have to allocate it. They have to portion it and ration it. That's fucked up. But then you talk about streaming games, which is a ton of bandwidth. It is a ton of information being passed along. You're going to hit those caps so fucking fast, it's going to make your head spin. And those people are just not going to be in on a streaming service. So I understand the entire industries want to move towards streaming, move towards cloud technology, and the technology is there. But our infrastructure isn't. The sad thing is we're one of the only countries where this isn't going to fucking work. And the problem is that we're one of the main markets. And Google knows this. That's the part that baffles me. Google knows this. I have Google Fiber. They're pulling it out of cities. It is not working. They know what the infrastructure of the United States is like. They tried to take a pass at fixing it, and they failed. And they know the huge gaps that are being left. So why in their right mind do they think is there some magic that I don't know that is suddenly going to make the internet work better?
Well, I didn't know they were pulling out of cities. I know they weren't moving forward. Like, I mean, even down here in Austin, they put it only in like South Austin, and they didn't really bring it north.
They're canceling plans when they've made plans to move into cities. They've notified residents, and now they're notifying residents that they are no longer moving into the cities. Like JP up at the shop, we put down a $70 deposit or whatnot to help them lay the landlines. We just got a note back that said that they're pulling out. They're no longer going to be putting the lines in, and they refunded us $7. So awesome, we got 10% of our deposit back, and we're not getting the service there. So maybe not.
You see why I don't have any faith in this thing. With shit like that.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that, and I did agree with Manny on like their track record. So that's another thing to consider.
I mean, like, like who's to say? Again, it's like, okay, what if we're getting, they get it in there and then it doesn't work out? Then they just leave a bunch of people high and dry and don't give them a refund.
Yeah.
Honestly, okay, I can't even call Google the bad guys on that because it's the local municipalities that are siding with the big cable companies because they're fucking bought and sold that have stalled. Like, we were one of the launching markets of Google Fiber, and we saw so much fucking lobbying and so much foot dragging. They actively, I mean, it's not Google's fault that Google Fiber failed. People all over the city want Google Fiber. People are moving to neighborhoods based on whether or not they can get Google Fiber. But they've been locked out of so many neighborhoods that they've created entire fences of areas where Google can't get through. They can't lay their network structure through there. So they can't get to entire parts of the cities, and it leaves these weird holes.
Apparently, like I just did just looking into all the different Google services and stuff like that, and seeing how some of them sort of work. And I looked at the Google Fiber, and apparently, like the way they have it locked down in certain places, that only certain apartment complexes could only get it.
Yeah, because Spectrum, Time Warner, Comcast, whatnot, they made active moves to classify things in weird ways so that Time Warner basically wasn't allowed to move in. They basically cock-blocked them. So Google wasn't allowed to move in. So it wasn't an issue of funding. It was an issue of they're legally not allowed to lay network infrastructure here. And it broke down into complete insanity. I don't know the exact specifics because I was following it for a while, and after a while, it just got too fucking hard to follow. I don't know exactly how they did it. Chris would, I'm sure, be able to dig into it and explain it way better than me because he's got that tech brain. But, oh, come on. Chris would be able to throw statistics and figure out exactly why this should happen. All I know is they fucked with the laws. They changed municipalities. They changed the way that it was classified, and they blocked Google from being able to get into a lot of places. So I'm actually really mad about that. Google has provided me amazing service. Google Fiber, and they're not paying me. Google Fiber is the greatest fucking thing ever.
Well, you're not paying for it either. Whoa!
Oh no, I am paying for it. But it's stable. It has gone out once on me, and it was resolved by a very nice customer service representative very promptly within 5 minutes. The rest of the time, I always get a gig.
You know what? I think I figured out why Fallout works so well for you.
Because I have a good connection.
Yeah, Google Fiber.
I
think that's the only explanation I can see. Why you're probably not experiencing all the same issues that everybody else is.
That's entirely possible, and that would just kind of further my point that we need to flesh out the infrastructure. But circling back to the original point, our infrastructure is so poor. Why would you attempt to launch this as a company that knows better? It's a great idea. It really is. But it's not going to work. We know it's not all going to work. There are services that already do this. And people are like, oh, yeah, they work great. And you're like, oh, sweet, really? They don't have any lag? And they're like, well, I mean, there's a little lag. But if you're not playing an FPS, you can get away with it. Like, that's the answer I always get. And that's not okay. That's not acceptable. There are people who want to play Call of Duty, who want to play FPSs. I don't want to play The Division with a 2-second lag. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think they just want to be first to market on this service. Like not just streaming, but like streaming anywhere. So I mean, there was a lot left out of that GDC conference. There's a lot of unanswered questions, like and a lot of stuff that Phil Harrison said. I said earlier gave me Peter Molyneux vibes. The whole thing without connecting to public internet is just your inputs going to the data center, and the data center is processing everything. All right, I could buy the streaming straight to YouTube. Yes, that's your data center, so you could stream straight to YouTube. That makes sense. But piping 4K 60 frames back to you on your phone or whatever over a cellular network, over like Time Warner, I don't understand how they're going to make that work,
Let,
especially
let,
in a low bandwidth.
let me remind you that Phil Harrison is also the same guy that said that every single game on the PlayStation 3 would be 1080p 60 frames per second. Those words came from his mouth.
So a liar.
Or marketing bullshit.
Well, now he's saying 4K 60.
Yeah, 4K
Yeah, now he's
60.
saying 4K 60. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the thing I find interesting is the fact that the way they're doing this is a secret, because, like you said, they don't want other people to copy it. That's kind of, so they're definitely doing something that's, like, I guess, unorthodox. That no one else is thinking about.
If they're doing it in some way that nobody else is thinking, that means that they already have it friggin' what is it? Already patented.
Oh, of course.
So what? So all you really need to do is just kind of look at whatever patents that Google has. That's all public fucking knowledge.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
If we're talking the and this reference may fire some of these heads.
Secret sauce.
If we're talking middle out compression kind of thing, like breakthrough on a way to package and stream information, it would be something so far beyond the scope of just video games that Google would basically be saying, we found a new way to send information through the tubes of the internet.
Well,
it would be that fundamental.
Yeah,
it?
no. Well, I mean, Chris, you were talking about some kind of predictive AI, right? Like,
Yeah,
perhaps?
I mean, yeah, he was saying that there's stuff happening at the data center level. So I'm thinking there's got to be some kind of predictive modeling, like machine learning, to be able to simulate your inputs and what would happen in case you do things. That way they could shorten the lag. They're trying to reduce latency, and the only way to do that, besides the bandwidth, which you don't have, right? We're all scratching our heads like, how you doing this shit, and people don't have the bandwidth. So they have to be using some kind of AI and some kind of predictive modeling to supplant that.
Yeah, what's your thought
That's
on that?
probably
Brett?
what he didn't want to talk about.
So, I mean, even if that is the case, so like the game kind of learns for me and it predicts what I'm going to do, that's not going to fly in a group of people whose first argument when they die is, it's not me, it's the fucking controller. You're really
it's the cloud.
Yeah, you think that's
That'll be the
gonna
new excuse, yeah.
The cloud, it's making me do things that I don't want to do. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you guys never saw that stupid new RoboCop movie, right?
I did. It was trash.
Oh, I saw
It was horrible. But remember what his thing worked on? It was a predictive motion that he did. So in other words, it was some sort of thing that read his sort of reactions, and it kind of did that. That's how he was able to move as fast or whatever he supposedly moved. Or no, actually no. What it was an AI that was making him think that he was doing all the things that he was doing, but really he wasn't. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at that point,
So let's do that. It's like, hey, look, you look like you're doing something.
Best case scenario, the game thought I was going to win and decided to give me a win, or the game thought I sucked and decided to toss me an L. Like, that is not really going to fly. Like, and don't tell me that it's going to be imperceptible, because we're talking about a group of people who still play on wired game controllers because they have better input. These people.
Oh yeah, no, Brett, I agree with that. Like, there's people who's all about, like, look at the Smash Brothers guys. They need to use a GameCube controller. Why? Because of input lag. And people only they'll do speed runs with classic systems hooked up to like an
CRTV.
upscaler. Yeah. To so they get the best experience, right? It's all about input lag. So I don't understand how this is working. Like I mean I watched the GDC thing. I read the other interview on Ars Technica, which he didn't really give any more information on it. So that's all I could come up with is like they have some kind of machine learning and predictive thing to try to help reduce that lag and predict your inputs. But I don't see how that's going to work.
If anything, we probably try to fuck with it. Like, in other words, you run in a direction. It's like, hey, everything's running good. Then you decide to run right really quickly, and then the then the game goes, you know.
Yeah, Violence NPD says, "God help you if you're trying to play a Soulsborne game on this."
Well, how about a fighting game?
A fighting game, Call of Duty type of game.
Yeah,
yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man.
I mean, he showed he only showed Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and well, Doom was the same video. They didn't show Doom running on that shit. They just showed the same old video they had before.
I laughed when I heard Doom. I'm like, come on, Doom runs on everything. It even runs on fucking smartwatches.
Yeah, but it's not, Manny. It's Doom Eternal, not Doom from 1993.
Regardless, that new version of Doom is made to scale for whatever thing it's on. They've even said it. That's why it runs so damn good, because it looks at whatever the way they have it set up, where it looks at pretty much what the system parameters are, and it runs well. It runs on a fucking Switch fine.
Well, not Doom. Actually, is Doom Eternal coming to Switch?
It probably is.
Well,
I don't know.
Listen, we all know that Doom Eternal is not a totally new game. It's essentially the last game, just with some new enemies.
No, it isn't. It's a sequel. What are you talking about?
Listen, it's literally the last game with some improvements on it.
No, it's not. It's a sequel.
Yes, we know it's. Yes, we know it's. We know it's a sequel, but the core of the game is essentially the last game with improvements on it.
You could say that about
the controls are not going to change, are they? No, they're going to be the same.
You can say that about any
You're going to have the same
franchise. What are you talking about? This is a stupid argument.
But what I'm saying, the argument is, it's pretty much, for the most part, it's the last game with some small improvements.
No, it's
We're
not.
not
It's
talking
a
about. We are not talking. We're not talking about the graphic, not the graphics, but the environment. We're talking about the core of the game is pretty much the last game, just with some improvements on it, just like any other game.
They didn't update the engine. Some sequels update the engine.
Okay, I was about to say, because I don't want it to seem like Doom Eternal is the DLC add-on.
No, it's not a DLC. I mean, the thing is that most games are pretty much at least nowadays, most games that the first the sequels of games are mostly just iterations of the last. They're not that much different than the last game as far as
I think it's using the new id Tech engine. I think Doom was running on id Tech 7, and this one is id Tech 8. The same. It's going to run.
Okay, so it's different. Oh, by the way, Manny, you said you wanted to see a new game. This game isn't even out yet, so it's like
it's not a new game. They ain't showing anything new on it. They just showed you a trailer and said it's going to work on it.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay, you want to see it running? Okay,
I want to see the damn thing running. The only thing we saw running on the damn thing was supposedly running on it was Assassin's Creed, and we saw some bits of Tomb Raider, which I don't know what any of that is. They just showed it in there.
Yeah.
By the way, interesting thing about the new Doom Eternal, it's going to have multiplayer, like not separate, like kind of like Dark Souls, where people could come into your game. So that'll be a good test for this thing.
That's cool. Can I just say, this whole thing is reminiscent of, like, if we were all standing at a 10-year-long E3 at this point, like, everything's ragged and battered and everybody's fucking tired, and some fucking schmuck in a plaid suit and a top hat comes out with a cane and goes, "Have we told you about the power of the cloud? Motherfucker, we've heard this song and dance before."
Yeah.
It's not new. It's not impressive.
We've got a better cloud than the last time. That one was a black cloud. This one is a white cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it comes from a company you have on everything,
It comes from a company that has on everything, but at the same time, they have a sketchy record. So I mean, I don't think that this
Carlos trusts them though.
I trust them that they probably have the best infrastructure than any company out there in the world to do this. Compared to Microsoft, any company, yeah.
Yeah,
Does Microsoft have their own fucking ISP?
Yeah, but we said this about Microsoft too. When they brought out the cloud, we're like, well, if anybody can make it work, it'll be Microsoft because they kind of do computers and stuff.
What? But the computer, it's different types of processing. Like the whole data center thing. That's what Google does. And all, like, if there's one company that has the infrastructure to do this at all, it's them. So it's like PS now.
Are you
I agree.
saying that Microsoft doesn't do data centers?
What did I say that?
No, he's just saying Google is the most qualified person he can think of. But the statement that you said, I could take that as a soundbite and pretty much pull it from last generation, like when we were talking about Xbox, and not necessarily you specifically, but just the whole, if anybody can do it, it's somebody with the infrastructure and the power behind it. It's going to be Microsoft. I can't think of anybody better to try and make a cloud than Microsoft. And we see how that turned out. Maybe I'm just jaded and cynical.
But when has Microsoft, what has Microsoft done? So what did they fail that has to do with this? They
literally built the hardware that the internet runs on.
They built the hardware that the internet runs on.
They pretty much built most of the PCs or most of the platforms that PCs are running on worldwide.
But do they make the interface for the internet?
Not one single person makes the. Well, are you talking about like Google?
Like Microsoft doesn't make modems. They don't make routers. They don't make the Ethernet adapters that are connected to your PC. They just make a OS. I mean, they obviously have other like ventures and shit, but like what you're talking about, you're like, oh, they're like all the PCs run the internet and PCs run Microsoft Windows, so they have to have that's nothing to do with it.
Most are running on the x86 architecture. Most, and granted, I don't know. Are most server farms running on Linux now?
I don't know. They're not running on Windows or Azure.
They're running on Windows-based architecture.
I think most maybe Amazon has a fucking has a stronghold on that.
and remember, Amazon is also looking to get into gaming too.
Oh yeah, everybody wants to dip in.
True, yeah.
Everybody wants to dip in. No, but I agree with Carlos. Like, if anybody's gonna credibly do this, it is Google, because they, you don't say, hey, let me Microsoft that. You say, let me Google that.
Well, no, but okay.
They run a search engine. It covers
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they cover the entire planet compared to Microsoft.
I'm not saying that Microsoft can do it better than Google, but what I am saying is, back in the day, especially, the argument that Microsoft is the best person to handle this because they
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying Microsoft and Google are two different things,
Okay.
Yeah, and no one's saying that they're gonna pull this off, and
no one's saying that.
Like, it's like if there is a company that's more suitable to they have the highest ceiling on this, and they have the highest floor, like, compared to other companies.
Nah,
like,
man, ask Jeeves, son. They're gonna do this shit, son.
Yahoo's gonna do this and kill it, man.
Yep.
I also look at the fact that in general, Google does not have the experience with gaming that Microsoft does.
But you're talking about making games. Like,
I'm talking about also dealing with games too. Like,
we're talking about just the infrastructure right now. We're not talking about the games.
The infrastructure, but that's infrastructure and also the getting people to go to it. I think that Microsoft has a better has a better handle on it than somebody like a new dog in the thing.
But this is all the technical aspect. We're not talking about selling this platform. We're not talking about making gains for this platform. It's all about the viability of the service. Is it going to work? Is it going to be reliable? That's the big question.
It doesn't matter if it works if it doesn't have anything to attract people to it.
But that's what we're talking about. Like, no, we can't talk about what games it's going to release because they didn't say anything. We can't speculate on that. We're just talking about they presented a service, and the whole conversation is this service even viable with our infrastructure?
Yeah, that's.
And my thing is, if there's anybody that can do it, I think it's Google.
Yeah,
I think they're the best suited for it.
But I have to disagree.
And that's my whole discussion.
Who's more qualified than Google?
Hold on, Carlos. By that argument, shouldn't Google Plus be the main social platform? It is literally the login page that you go to search things for the internet. Why would you go out of your way to go to Facebook? Shouldn't
'Cause-
Google Plus be dominating by that logic?
No, because Google Plus sucks.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't matter because if anybody could
They have
do
no
social
track.
media
They
better
have
than
no
anybody-
track record of making social media, social networks.
And that
Exactly. And
is exactly what I'm saying on their
No,
gaming side.
they absolutely have a track record on making streaming platforms. We're doing it right now. We're talking through a fucking Google thing.
We
How
also
we
could
watch-
be-
we
could
watch
also-
YouTube-
We watch YouTube videos
we could
every
also be
single
doing
day.
it on Skype as well. It's not a new tech. It's not.
Yeah,
They're
but
not
Skype-
even the best. They're
the
not
reason-
even the best at it.
There's a reason why we don't do it on Skype because it's shit.
Yeah, we do it on Google.
We're doing it on the lesser of two evils because the Google is shit too.
Yeah, but it's reliable more than the other ones we've tried. You know.
But okay, so let's maybe put it this way. I agree with the comment that if anybody could do it, it would be Google. But I don't agree with the comment that Google can do it.
No one said Google can do it. They said
I
Yeah, I
Yeah,
said
no
if
one
there's
said that.
anybody that can do it, I
If-
trust Google more than anybody else. I'm not saying that I trust them. I'm not going to jump off a fucking cliff for them. But I'm
No,
just saying,
Yeah,
I mean,
no-
you're not gonna- you're not gonna keep
if
yourself-
if Sony says we're gonna do the exact same thing, like tomorrow, and I'm gonna be like, I trust Google more than fucking Sony because everything Sony does is fucking half-ass.
Oh, you're gonna piss off some
I mean,
fanboys.
Tell me what Google has really done well on, besides
other
their-
than being a search engine.
of all their
You're saying that like
business
it's nothing.
No, I'm just saying.
I mean, here's the thing.
They've won like
Because
8 business
the
ventures, and one of them has worked.
What?
Android, fucking Gmail, fucking Google Docs, fucking YouTube.
how did they attract people to Google, like Gmail? They gave you more space than anybody else on the internet. That's how they attracted
Gmail's
people
the
to
shit.
Google.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Fucking
Have
email
you tried anything
client.
else?
Yeah, I fucking work in tech. I have to have so many fucking emails, like in different services. Exchange. I have to have fucking. I use Hotmail because I used to have a Hotmail and fucking Yahoo. I have everything.
He's tried it all, baby.
I
Yeah, but
tried
yeah,
all
no,
the flavors.
yeah, no one's saying Google will do this, or you know what I'm saying. We're saying if anybody has a chance to do it. You know, that's a big fucking if. You know, this whole thing may just explode. You know, we don't know.
Right. They got to get, one thing we haven't pointed out is the most important thing for any platform is the games. If Google can't get people to developers to sign on to this or do anything, then it's dead in the water.
Yeah, and like I think was it Tony that mentioned it that they're gonna have their own separate thing for
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
this if anybody came to this thing looking for games, I don't think they were ever gonna get them. It's kind of like the Xbox the Xbox One unveil. It's like yeah, we're gonna like show you the platform in this conference and then the games later on. But
Yeah.
then everybody was
and
pissed that
that
they didn't
didn't
show
work.
games. Well, obviously this one did.
I mean, Phil Harrison mentioned they have support for Unreal and Unity, but those are engines. It's up to developers to go, okay, I'm going to make this and scale it to your platform,
Yeah.
right? If they don't do that, then you don't have a game.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Yeah. Again, we'll see what comes of this thing. We're gonna see more during the summer. So, yeah.
A Fugle.
What the fuck is a
Others say
fanboy?
that Fugles are like Google fanboys.
Oh shit! Is that what you are, Carlos? Okay. I'm like,
Apparently, man.
I
Yo,
thought
man.
That's why I have an iPhone.
I thought Fugle was a streamer. I don't know these motherfuckers. You know.
Yo, man.
Hey, Carlos is just bowing to his supreme robot overlords. They'll soon overtake us all. It's fine.
It'll be Google that will be Skynet, not Skynet.
It's gonna be interesting when we have this conversation in 20 years after we're all fucking. Actually, no, the young cats are all streaming games and we're still playing our Nintendos and shit. You know.
I think there'll be. I think that to be honest, I still think there'll be a place for certain things. I think we live in an age that all of a sudden people started collecting, started buying records, like records on vinyl again. We live in a world where people are, like people are scrambling to get old school video game consoles. We live in a world where essentially companies are making reproduction consoles because the old ones are not good enough for the TVs that we have these days. So I do think that there is definitely going to still be some sort of physical nature to things just because of the way it is.
Yeah. Here's my thing, and I'm glad you bring that up. and this is a little bit hypothetical, but just bear with me, Manny, and I want you to answer specifically, right? Okay, let's say 20 years from now, every game is streamed, right? You play everything streaming, but you want some physical. What's the company going to sell you to play that physical game on?
I don't know if it's going to be actually if we're going to do physical. I think if everything does move physical, moves to non-physical, that they're going to sell you something that is something that's related to it, but it's not actually the game.
They're gonna
What I
sell
mean,
you-
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
what I mean by it is like they'll sell you a figure. They'll sell you some sort of merchandise, some other sort of merchandise. So as opposed to getting yes, you don't get the game, but hey, you can buy the figure that it comes with comes with the download code or whatever.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people that I saw on my timeline were talking about like, oh, like I'll always be physical. I'll never go digital. I'm thinking, but what if in 20 years there's nothing but digital? What are you gonna do then?
I think
it
there is the thing about again, we come from a different age than probably then definitely people from the future would come with, where like in other words we live in there is a full generation of people that only know movies really just through streaming mostly through streaming services, and as opposed to going to a store and buying them. But
This already happened.
Yeah,
What happened?
All of this already happened.
Yeah.
All of this already happened. I still remember the day, and it was a dark day. I know y'all fucking love Steam. I'm still mixed about Steam because it pissed me off in the goddamn beginning. I liked collecting PC games. There was a time when you would collect PC games. They came in boxes. They had instruction manuals. You put them on a fucking shelf. They had discs that you install.
PC games, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And then wait. And then there was a day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a very dark day when you went to the store and you picked up the big old fucking box, and it used to have like a big flip open fucking cover. Like it was they had the best boxes. You bought it and you brought it home. You were so excited. You open it up. There's the case. Has the instruction manual. All right, let's do this shit. You open that and there's a Steam code inside? Where's my fucking disc? Where's my fucking game? Why do I just have a 12-letter goddamn code? Where's the rest of my fucking product? And you yelled, and I screamed, and I kicked dirt, and I got angry, and nobody fucking cared because it was convenient that way. Because they were selling more copies on Steam at a 10-to-1 ratio than me. They did not give a fuck about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it will change under your feet, too.
Thank you, Brett. That's exactly what I'm saying, man. That's exactly what I'm saying. You could fly that flag high if I'm going to be physical all day. Okay, great. What happens when they stop being physical? What are you going to be doing then? That's all I'm saying. Brett, perfect example. It already happened. It already happened.
I think, but I think in those situations there will be some sort of alternative. Not actually.
There isn't.
There isn't.
No,
There's not
I'm
going to be.
saying like, okay, so we talk about something like this, where you have a game like Bendy and the Ink Machine, a game that totally exists online. It doesn't exist physically, at least right now it doesn't. But what do they have? They have souvenirs. They have all kinds of little things that you can buy, to remind you of the game.
Yeah, they have merchandise. Yeah, merchandise. Yeah,
that's the future. That would be the future. We will not see. Yes, we won't see the actual physical games, but they will see a lot more collectibles and merchandise coming from these things. If you notice, like all those big indie titles, like at least for now, Cuphead. Eventually Cuphead's going to be on a thing. But yeah, when we talk about Cuphead, when we talk about Bendy and the Ink Machine, those Five Nights at Freddy's games, none of those games are actually physical. There's no boxes, no nothing for those games. But don't you know there's 1,000 bits of merchandise that's all connected to it?
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And Brett, that's where I'm coming at it from. You know me, man. I'm old school, man. I like my games physical and all that. But I'm trying to say, like, okay, I'm going to use my 1-year-old niece as an example, right? 20 years from now, 18 years, whatever, right? How's she going to be playing games? She's going to be playing games on her computer, her phone, whatever, right? What the fuck use does she have for a console? And that's what I'm trying to get to people. It's like, guys, this is coming. And I think everybody in this panel, whether you like it or not, agrees this is what's going to happen. And Brett, perfect example. It already happened in PC games. You think it's not going to happen in console games? Yeah.
Nobody knows to the point that they're asking questions about it.
Yeah. And now go ahead.
That just confuses me. Like, and people have this assumption like, oh, I'll kick up enough dirt and people will get mad and things will change. Like, no, there's a rising tide that's going to happen.
Yep.
And the weird way they're going to do it is they're going to render the thing you like irrelevant. Like if you're like, dude, I love keys. I love skeleton keys, brass keys, steel keys, antique keys. I just love all kinds of keys. they open doors. If you buy a key, you own the thing that it unlocks. If I buy a house, somebody gives me a key and I go unlock the house, that house is mine. That's how it used to work. But things kind of changed. And now a key is just an access point to the product. You buy the house, you buy the property on the house. Things are more sophisticated now. It's not just you show somebody you have the keys to a place and you fucking own it. You have to show the deed. You have to show all the information that comes along with it.
Well, then just like in real life, they could just the government could just take your house from you because it just so happens to be in a place where they need to put a highway.
Exactly, and the key doesn't fucking matter anymore, and that's exactly my point. The key doesn't matter anymore. They changed the situation so it doesn't matter. They've done it with PCs, and they'll do it with games too. And it'll be a weird inch by inch thing. And at a certain point, you'll ask yourself, kind of like you do with music now, like, oh man, I really want a physical copy of an audio cassette or a VHS. And yeah, you could try and track it down, but the question is that's going to become why. It's been rendered so inconvenient and so just irrelevant that nobody is going to service that industry anymore, which makes it more inconvenient. And you end up having a snowball effect of, fuck it, I'm just going to get it on Spotify. It's right there.
It's funny, but like I said, like there is those kind of sorts of exceptions. So I mean, again, like we were talking about the music industry, just they sell records again. You can go to a literal physical record store with new records like on vinyl.
Now, but
not everything, but a lot of it. And I think there will definitely be something. No, I mean at least for console games or whatever. I think that definitely that idea is going to go. We're going to probably definitely go toward old day digital. But
hey, listen, I'm telling you,
you don't have to plug in a record machine. You don't have to have a record machine connected.
No, you don't need to. Yeah, it's not
They can't decide to brick your records at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to own the shit that you buy anymore, and that's my point. If you don't own the shit that you buy, what's the point of having a physical copy? What is the point in having packaging for something that you? It's like keeping a concert ticket. Sure, it's a memento. Is it going to get you anything? No, not really. You bought the experience. The vessel for the experience doesn't matter. They've rendered it irrelevant, and then as they render it irrelevant, they can just do away with it without many people caring. The only people that'll care are the people who are vinyl record shoppers. But they're buying at a such lowered significant rate. They'll pick up new customers twice as quick with these new methods than they would otherwise.
Well, I mean, it also has to do with the ease. I mean, the thing is that you have just like any comic store, you have to essentially find a store that actually sells records. Like there are definitely nowadays there are not. Most cities don't have that sort of thing anymore. Where it's like it's rare if you do see it, or maybe sometimes it'll be a small section in the Hot Topic, but that's probably it.
I think so. I mean, it's happening way faster than we think. Like, you can still get DVDs at Walmart. Does anybody know anybody who does?
I still buy DVDs. I just bought two.
Yeah, I have bought, especially bargain bin. If I find some like the diamond in the rough, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I just bought Spider-Verse and I Love Dogs.
I approve of those choices. But okay, so Manny, you're the exception. You actively collect DVDs then. You have a DVD collection.
I do have a DVD collection, but it's not as nearly as extensive as it used to be. Whereas I'm a little bit more, I don't buy them as often. Like Marvel movies, like I've kind of stopped buying them. I don't even watch them multiple times anymore. Like I just go to see them once in the movies, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to look. I mean, part of it also has to do with the fact that nowadays DVDs don't even have special features anymore, or Blu-rays. Like Spider-Verse was lucky where they actually did have a bunch of special features and audio commentary. But that was my main reasoning for buying those sorts of things. Like you can get an experience that you wouldn't even get in the movies. But nowadays it's like it's all bare bones. And I didn't buy. I really like the film The Shape of Water, right? I didn't buy that because it didn't have anything on it that made it worth me buying it even more.
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, I love that, and I'm not arguing against that. I am one of those people, much like Tony. I love my physical copies. I love my boxes. I love pointing to the wall of games, and being like, I got all those.
I mean, there's that thing where you actually owning something like from when I was younger. I mean, and I wish Adam was here today. But I mean, we would always go to like the city. Like there used to be all these really cool CD shops on St. Mark's Place in in the city, and you could like. Yeah, over there you could get the CDs for a lot cheaper. You could be like, granted, like Sam Goody, it'd be like $20. Over there, it'd be like 12 or 11. And you could just, if you just had the time, you just look through everything and you'd find the things that you want. And nowadays, it's like you can't even find those type of stores anymore.
And by the way, Brett, it's funny you mentioned concert tickets because I literally have every concert ticket for every concert I have, except for the concerts in the last 4 years. You know how much that hurts me because it's all digital now. It's fucking crazy.
Digital. Or didn't it fuck with you when you got the concert ticket at the, like, you go to the place, you go to the concert ticket, right? Get the concert ticket, and they give you, they just scan it. They don't even rip them anymore.
Yeah, they scan it. Yeah, I was like, rip the ticket, motherfucker. So I started ripping them myself.
I'll tell you this much though.
Yeah.
I don't miss fucking boarding passes. Those physical boarding passes when you
I
go
don't
on your
miss those
flights.
either. I don't miss those either. Yeah, I don't miss those either.
I
love that.
I still use boarding passes, to be honest. I still
Not
put
me.
them out.
I just put on my phone. Here you go, man. Take the shit.
Yeah,
I don't,
I don't. But
I don't deal with that bullshit.
Dude, as much as I love physical games, I'll be honest, I kind of love digital games too. Like, it is great being like, I want to play a video game. Buy it. Walk away. Cook dinner. Eat. Watching, 20 minutes of The Office. Sit down. Brand new game to play. It's 2 a.m. I don't, or on, like, I used to be the guy who would be at GameStop or Walmart at midnight to pick up a game so I could get it home and play by midnight. Now I just preload that shit. Order pizza. Work a little late, come home, my shit's ready. Like, there are honestly really great things about digital.
I'm the same way too.
Yeah, man. I remember because last gen I was hardcore physical. I'm like physical all day, every day. But when Assassin's Creed 3 was coming out, it was like snowing. I couldn't go out. I'm like, I guess I'll get it digital. I was very reluctant about that. But I woke up the next day. I'm like, yo, the game's in my PlayStation right now. I don't have to go to the store. It's just right fucking there. Like, it was such a mind blowing experience,
Dude, I had one of those recently. I can't believe because I bought Anthem physical. I had to get up and walk across the room and eject Divinity because it was the last game I played. Find its box, put it in its box, put its box away, put Anthem in, and then walk back over and sit down. I'm telling you, it was a grueling experience.
Now, Brett, let me ask you a question, because I want to know if you had the same thought I did when I had the same experience. I was just like, what the fuck am I doing with this physical shit?
Exactly.
I was like, why am I going through all this shit?
I got so used to just swapping between games that I went to, like, pop Anthem in, and, like, I didn't even notice the game was like, please insert the game disc. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it! I have to go all the way over there. That's like 4 feet away.
I remember, fucking Manny, Nier Automata, right? Or like, remember, like, I got the Game of the Year edition, and I'm like, I gotta put the disc in. What the fuck? I'm not used to that anymore.
I mean, I still buy things on discs.
This generation got me out of it because when I first started this generation, I was buying games physical, but when I found out that the games download to your hard drive complete, I'm like, what the fuck's the point of physical anymore? I'm telling you, they're weaning us off of that. And I was going to say something along the lines of like, oh, when PlayStation 6 won't exist, all those games are going to be on some fucking server. That's just how it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Google, but I kind of see that as a theory, as the future. Microsoft, any of these game publishers are going to throw their games on this service, and that's how you get your games.
You just need to download them, or half download them and then rely on the cloud. Like, the idea of fully streaming is stupid, but the idea of, if you do have internet, like, storing it even in a temporary cache, like, have a 24-hour fucking cache or something like that it just automatically sits there and updates and downloads the shit that it thinks that you're going to use and maintains a minimum space and deletes games that you haven't played in a while, but then maintains them if you look like you're coming back to them. Like, if you could do some kind of hybrid system, that would work really well.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think that would be good. Like, I mean, okay, there's still that step, as Manny calls it, that between a barrier between you and the game. But I think that would be better, at least to get rid of lag. Like, you have a little box that you could download some of the game, and then the other half is done, over the internet. I think that would be better.
Think of it like this. Okay, so it's like Netflix, but every title that you see on there, it allocates and downloads enough to start it.
Yeah.
The equivalent of the first episode, the way that games have their preload section, and then you actually have to wait for them to finish loading while you're playing the game. It'll have one of those things where it basically everything on your menu has the 10% on. So you can just see games, start it, and then as soon as you start it, the service goes, oh shit, we need the rest of this game, and starts piling on the back end. It's not streaming, it's just throwing data in front of you. It's essentially creating the world 12 feet in front of you. So it's not streaming directly in front of you. So if it does hit a hiccup, your whole world doesn't freeze up, but it's streaming chunks of data for the next level, for the next section. So when you're in one part of Skyrim, that's fine. It doesn't have the other part downloaded. It needs to download the other part as you're traveling over there. You really only need, preloading has showed us, you really only need to kind of download a part of the engine. And a lot of times that's before you get a lot of items and stuff like that too. So they don't even need to download a lot of mechanics right away. They're just the very beginning bits. And unless you're a power player and you're breezing right through it, most people won't hit that wall.
Maybe that'll be the solution for competitive gamers,
I mean, it could be. Why not? Why not just make sure that everybody download, the game Call of Duty has the engine already kind of downloaded on whatever service you have. It's zipped essentially, so it's compressed and takes up a very small amount of room. You access it, it unzips, and then downloads whatever level you're about to go in. It'll take 2 minutes. We're already used to little loading screens. So it runs kind of network download in the background, and boom, you're in a match. Everything's downloaded to a temporary cache on your PC. I don't know that much about software. I'm sure somebody either in this panel or in the room knows that there's something wrong with this idea and can tell me exactly why it won't work. But I think the idea of pre-streaming chunks is going to be the answer, as opposed to just relying strictly on streaming.
Yeah, and you would also need to do that on whatever devices you plan to play on too, because some people may just be like, hey, I want to play the game on my phone, so you need to download it.
You already do that. If you want to use Discord, you have to download Discord. It'll just be wrapped in the package of, oh, this is downloading the service.
I didn't install Discord.
Yeah, but you're right though. Even with Spotify, it downloads some or not. I don't know if it's download, but some of the music is already. They kind of put some of the music already in there in case like your connection drops. The song doesn't automatically cut out on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's already kind of there.
It's the same thing that how streaming video works. I mean, a portion of that video is already downloaded onto your system.
Yeah, so they would need to do something like that for games.
In other words, your console or whatever is generating the generating that one portion of it, and the rest of it is all being thrown onto the whatever is on the cloud or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I really want to find out how they're gonna manage this stuff, especially with the latency. By the way, Mighty Nerds calls us lazy because we don't like switching discs.
Like, who's lazy?
Yeah.
Who's lazy? I'm the motherfucker still buying. Me and Chris are still the motherfuckers buying discs.
Yeah.
Yo, Mighty Nerd, are you still using CDs to play all your music? I just want to ask that.
I'm still using fucking CDs to play music.
You know what's funny? By the way, I buy CDs and I never listen to them. I just listen to the MP3 version because it's easy.
Oh yeah, you get it. You put it on your thing, so you don't need to switch up the CDs. Yeah.
No, I just buy the disc. I'm like, hey, I want to support the band. That's literally the only reason why. I just listen to the new Dream Theater. I bought it. I'd never listened to it. I just listened to it on Spotify. Because it's fucking easy. It's on my phone already,
Give me that disc. Give me that disc. I'll take that shit from you.
I gotta say, can't cast shade on a motherfucker with a blown disc. Yeah. It is hard for me to get across the room.
Oh man,
I mean, I'm like, then again, I'm like, you look how many games I buy per year nowadays. I mean, I'm only buying like 3 or 4, not a lot. So I'm like, there's not a lot of switching going on right here.
Dude, I get annoyed when companies send me a game physical. I'm like, send me a fucking code, man. What is this shit?
I like getting. To me, I don't know. I can't. I love getting packages, man. Don't matter what it is. I love packages. I love getting something.
Like it's like Christmas.
Yeah, it's like Christmas. You get a package in the mail. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. I bought fucking doubles. I could have bought Double Switch digitally online, but I waited for the stupid limited run games version of it, and I got it. I didn't even, I could have just bought the game. Like, oh man, I didn't get it. Nah, I just waited for the game, and I'm having a ball with it. So, and it's got fun packaging, cards, and all kinds of funky stuff. So I'm like, all right, I appreciate it, and a color manual.
See, I got the patience for that. I'm an impulse buyer.
Might be
That's also because I never have any idea how much money I'm going to be making. So, like, every once in a while, it's like getting just like, hey, here's an $80 bonus. Like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting to make that much money. Well, I already saved some. Fuck it, buy a video game. I don't want to wait 2 days.
If I can find it at the local, the local GameStop, I'll do that. If I can go to an Amazon, get it on Amazon, I'll do that. I mean, I'm not like, I swear, I don't think I've bought any single like full-on AAA sort of game on this generation or the last generation that was just fully just digital. I have discs for pretty much every single game that I own, except with the exception of the indie games and the online games.
Yeah, like I eventually bought a couple of physical just so I could have something. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta
like,
have something.
Yeah, just so I could have something. I accept the exclusive, but even that, I stopped.
Gotta have something.
Yeah, but even that, I stopped. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. I do not want to deal with it.
Well, you're kind of already in maximum. You kind of already reached full saturation as far as things can fit in your space. So I can also see why.
Well, that's the other reason. I'm like, listen, I literally have no room for this shit. Things are just packing on top of each other now,
Yeah.
Although I do plan to buy like new shelves and stuff so I could carry more stuff. But yeah, man. Again, people, that's just the way things are going. PC. I'm glad you brought up PC games, Brett. That's a perfect fucking example. You bought his big ass box and you get a fucking code. That's great. That's a burn, son.
That is a burn.
But that's just the way it is, and nobody gave a fuck. Except for Brett, obviously.
What are you talking about? People
I forgot something.
People did give a fuck. The thing is that
not enough.
Yo, Brett, you need to watch. I don't know what the hell we're talking about. I just wanted to bring this up.
Why do we talk about games? What is
game related? Come on.
What the fuck am I doing here, man?
So, Brett,
you gotta watch anime. What?
This is the elephant in the room. Nobody's mentioned it, and obviously Brett doesn't know about it because he didn't watch the press conference. But Brett, they had a whole segment in this skit. What is it? What's the name of the service again?
Stadia.
It sounds like a sweetener. It sounds like an artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
Stadia on this.
I thought it was like a stadium, like a girl version of a stadium. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, Carlos. Yeah.
So they spent a segment.
Yeah, it's a lady. Okay.
Yo, let me finish.
Sorry, I had to dad pun.
It's a classy bitch, man. Anyway, go ahead.
They spent a whole segment talking about couch co-op and how they want to bring it back.
Really? This excites me.
Excuse me?
Wow.
Yeah, man.
So they actually think that people may want to play video games while in the presence of another physical human being?
So that could
weird.
potentially bypass when your friends have shitty internet, but you have a good one. It's like, well,
come on over, man. I got fiber.
Yeah, he's already in the network. His Google is going to be running like
gangbusters.
Yeah. I would have the butter connection. Like that's
the butter connection.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. The butter connection. My Google runs like butter.
See, like here's the thing. Out of all of us, like even at the thing what he was talking about, out of all of us, Brett will have the best version of this thing out of anybody of us playing. Yeah,
sure.
Yo, if you want to play Fallout 76 the right way, go to Brett's house.
Go to Brett's house.
I swear, I think that's it. I think the fact that he has a better connection is the reason, probably one of the reasons why he has had almost a pretty a pretty good experience on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I upload and download.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what that's
Brett
what
never had issues with Anthem either, did you, Brett?
No.
Satan.
Brett never had
Wait,
any
wait.
issues for Sea of Thieves either, right?
Oh.
I didn't. So what's Rockstar's deal?
So they must. Yo,
Oh yeah. Well, you know what?
Shit.
I feel like that Rockstar's deal is probably a peer-to-peer sort of deal. Because if you notice, it's like us glitching out on your thing, stuff like that. I don't know. Either that or Rockstar doesn't like Google.
Or Rockstar doesn't like Brett. You know. All right, man. I think that's gonna do it for us, man. Good stuff. So
Hold on.
Brian. Here we go.
Guy
Here we
comes
go.
out of nowhere, man.
Oh, Tony.
I actually think I have the answer for Brett's problem here. Okay, Brett. So it seems like your issue is that you want the game physical in your physical space. You don't want it digital, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I found like the answer to like solve your PC gaming problems. Step 1, buy the game from GOG. GOG is DRM free. 2, buy some sort of disc thing. So whether it's SD card or CD drive or something, and put the game on the disc and then put it in your shelf.
you can do that.
What about the box? Where's the box gonna come from then?
Oh, you buy the box or you make the box. It's fucking 2019. Just download the case on something and print it out.
Honestly,
Get
Like
Apple.
3D print the box.
I've seen people get game cases and make their own covers and do that kind of thing.
You're an artist. Draw the case yourself.
But that's the thing. Okay, so if I'm being 100% honest, it's not even the disc. It's the other shit. Like if you, as a classic gamer, it is the instruction booklet. It is the game cover art. It is maybe a sticker or something that you'll get in the package.
That's limited run games, man. Right there. That's what they do. That's how
How
their
did you
business.
sell it?
That used to be normal though.
Oh yeah, it was normal.
Like that was the stuff I loved, and even that's not, which is why, like honestly, at this point, I buy digital games because I don't even get any of that other stuff anymore anyway.
Yeah, they give you when you buy a game now. What do you get? You don't even get a manual. You get like a slip of paper that tells you about the other game, or the slip of paper has the DLC code on it, and all the instructions are essentially plastered in the back of the cover.
Yeah, you have to read it through the goddamn plastic, and you're lucky if you get a slip of paper advertising another game. You really got fucking made out like a bandit if you got yourself an advertisement with your video game. So like, there's really no fucking point anymore unless you're buying special editions, which I'm kind of with Manny at this point. I either buy digital or I buy special editions because it's the other stuff that I really like. But I also like having all that. I liked having all that other stuff. The instruction booklet that came with a little art book. Maybe it came with the CD, or it came with a sticker or something, depending on how old it was. And you could keep all of that in the box.
Did Red Dead come with stickers this time around? I can't remember. Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
I got stickers. Yeah.
Oh, you got the stickers.
Yeah, I got them.
I know in the previous titles they used to give you a bunch of stickers for the game.
Did you get a big map this time?
Yeah,
they give you a map.
Yeah, that's something Rockstar always will do.
Yeah. Also, people who make The Witcher.
Until Stadia, that did.
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red. Hats off to them as a developer. Like I don't like The Witcher. That's just me. They are an amazing company. Like I bought all 3 games, didn't necessarily like them, but was amazed and impressed by the amount of shit that you got in the box. CD Projekt Red loves you. They genuinely love their customers. It's pretty fucking cool.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Brian, anything
Don't tell
else you want to
Brian
add? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, don't tell the yeah. Go ahead.
We already know that Brett has bad taste in games, so it's fine.
Damn, son. Wow.
shit.
That below the belt, son. Below the belt.
Oh, come on. You act like it's something new. Come on. Like, you
I'm trying
guys
to build bridges. I'm just trying to build bridges.
you guys act like Brett was sat here saying that Anthem was good, Fallout 76 was good, Sea of Thieves was good. Come on. Like, am I wrong here, guys?
Damn, Brian.
Am I literally the bad guy here? I don't think so.
I never said Sea of Thieves was good. I
Yo,
said I
Brian,
enjoyed
you
it.
don't
There's a
say
difference.
it.
There's a difference. I can enjoy bad games. I didn't mean I'd say that they're good. My critical eye and my enjoyment, 2 completely different things. I can love a shitty game or a shitty movie. If I'm expecting it and I'm in the right mood. I can watch Transformers. I ain't hating. I
That's the
watched
why
Wonder Woman.
I am.
some men just want to watch the wild man.
No,
I
I love you,
watched
Brett.
Wonder Woman and I watched Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel.
Smith Marvel.
That's how you know this
Oh.
motherfucker actually reads comics, man. Oh God. Anyway, Brian, anything else you want to add before we leave?
I love you, Brett. That's all that needs to be said.
We
No matter
cool.
what games you like or dislike, Brett, I'll still love you.
Some Whitney Houston shit, man.
No
What the
matter
fuck?
what singular game you like, I'll still enjoy all the other ones.
Well,
Oh.
you know what, Brett? Yeah, you know what? Fine. That's fair. That's fair with me.
Paikuhan like the Miss Marvel jab. Yeah. Awesome. All right, man. Thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco. Tonight was joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you later, guys. And for those of you going to Metal Gear in concert at the, what do they call that place? The United Palace Theater, I'll be there, and actually I'll have well, no, I won't have, but some merchandise that I designed will be there for Donna Burke, the singer of Metal Gear Solid 5 and Peace Walker. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. And if you see me there, say what's up.
Chris Seeley,
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero,
Make sure to watch Lucha. Watch the cartoons.
Brett Murdoch,
Don't listen to the haters.
and Brian Manjoma.
The hater.
Loving you too, Brett. Loving you too.
All right, guys. We'll
Gotta
see
have
you.
something.
Gotta have some. By the way, we're gonna be streaming Division this weekend, man. Come through. It's gonna be crazy.
Really?
All right. Later, man.
Later, guys.
Leave
Deuces.
Peace.